Yeah, well,
Well, this
something
movie
like that.
looks so good. You know, it comes out on VOD here, February 23rd. And what I got from the trailer looks like this crazy, violent home invasion with this awesome mask, by the way. And it leaves the husband in a coma. Wife's, really startled. And Noah, who's the main character, wakes up and basically tries to go down, figure out who did this. And it looks like there's a lot of cool twists and turns. And as you go further down this rabbit hole, so I guess John, start how this project got put together.
All right. Well, yeah, there's a lot of, as you mentioned, there's a lot of twists and turns. So it's a psychological thriller that really does mesh itself into the drama genre as well. So you're really getting two genres mixed up together. But it was just it was a treatment that I wrote in 2013, and it's loosely based on there was a murder, a home invasion in Connecticut back a while ago, and two escaped convicts completely just destroyed this family overnight. And I just remember reading about that and going, that's horrible. Like, what can that do to someone? And I was like in my early 20s, so I wrote like a 10-page treatment, and then I kind of shelved it because I'm like, I'm not mature enough to handle these topics, And then obviously, time passed, and it was still sitting in my drawer, and it was always just one of those, passion projects that I had because I love the noir genre, Alfred Hitchcock. I really love the older films, so I love the structure and the storytelling that they had back then. But Matt and I were doing our second short film together, and it was we were in the middle of some of the stunt and fight training, and he comes to me and goes, "Oh, how much is this short film costing you?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's costing me very little to do." And we're able to stretch that out to 40 minutes. And then he goes, "Well, what can you do with, if I come to you and if I cover, like, what can you do?" I'm like, "I can probably do a feature film, for you." And knowing Matt, and because I know his aspirations to be, as to be taken seriously as an actor, and to really branch out into that field. I presented 3 options for him, and one of them happened to be the outline for Rage. It wasn't even in the script format. So I gave him a sci-fi, I gave him an action, and I gave him this lengthy, drawn out psychological thriller drama. And in my head, I'm going, please pick the action. Please pick the action. It's a lot easier to do. And he goes, "No, I'm picking the drama." I'm like, "Damn it. All right, cool, whatever." And I understand why, because it really showcased a wide range of emotion. It's any actor's dream to be able to do that. So then obviously, I'm not a writer by any means. I've never claimed to be a writer, nor will I ever try to write my own stuff, because that's a whole other discipline. And then, I put up a post on Stage 32, which is an online forum for writers to all get together and, look for jobs. And I thought maybe, a couple of people will reply, but I had 308 emails overnight. Each with,
wow.
each
I wish I got
sending
that
me this
response when I used Stage 32 in the past.
Yeah, well, it's just luck of the draw, And then 308 300 plus emails, and I'm like, every single email had like a script attached that I had to read. So it took me a couple of months to find the right person, and it ended up being Michael Cospia in the Bronx, who's just this tremendously talented writer. And it took about 3 months to get back to him, and everything just fell into place because he already wrote a script that won the Dark Matters at the Austin Film Festival as well.
Cool.
And that film happened to be made by another Australian into an Australian film, and I'm like, there's too many coincidences here. I'm like, I really like your style, so I'll just go with you. So he spent the next 3 months writing a story based on this outline that I had, but then he kind of went off and took it in his own direction and really made it his own. So the essence of the treatment is still there, but it's really his story, and he's introducing all these characters and twists and turns. And every draft I'm getting back, I'm like, bloody hell, this is good stuff, This is, because I didn't even know the end. I didn't even know the twists and turns until he sent me the script, because he goes, listen, I got this idea. Have a read. Let me know what you think. And I'm like, I'm reading. I'm up to like page 80. I'm like, where's this going? Like, I don't even know. It's my story, and I don't even know where it's going. So that was a nice little surprise for me. And then obviously, you know, the dominoes started to fall in the whole movie making process. But that's pretty much how it all got started. It was just at the end of a fight training session, Matt generously coming up to me going, "Hey, I've got some cash. What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "This
And
is."
you think that I can act?
Yeah. And you can like,
Well, yeah, because Matt, you kind of have to carry this whole film, right, as the lead, the husband, right? So I guess tell me
Yeah.
about what attracted you to this story, because you had three options, and tell us about your character also in it. You know,
Yeah, sure. So I think, as Johnny was saying, when he did present me with the three options for the films, I did have a read of all of them and the stories and whatnot, and I had to kind of sit there and think, what would be the best decision for my career? I mean, I would love to do an action film. It would be so much fun. I've always wanted to do action. That's definitely a genre that I want to get involved in the future. But I thought, you know what? If I want to show my range and really showcase exactly what I've learned to date as an actor, and even kind of really challenge myself, this would be the best script for me, because it was a very challenging script and a very challenging story to have to carry as a lead actor as well. And just going into the preparation of Noah, I think coming to terms with the idea of, you know, being the non-faithful husband to begin with. I mean, there's got to be that element of guilt that you constantly carry around. And that was something that I had to kind of digest and kind of wear the entire film. And then with that guilt was also that regret, the regret of not being there during a moment where, you know, so many husbands would want to be there. I mean, that's the biggest fear of any husband, you're not being around when someone tries to break in and attack your wife.
absolutely.
And then obviously having to deal with the psychological trauma that the wife has experienced as well, and carrying that, and then the revenge, you know, that kind of need to want to gain redemption and find the person that did this to try to make it all better for yourself. And the whole process of just the breakdown, you know, you start to realize as a character that, like, you feel these emotions the whole way through, and then it becomes a reality for you. And it is a heavy burden to carry for anyone, but that also, and we're trying to show the audience that there is a way back. There is a way back to the top. There is a way back to redeem yourself, and everyone, I guess, deserves a second chance, provided they give it 100%. You know, so these were the things that I kind of, it was the emotional journey that I went through as the character of Noah, but I loved it every second of it. And yeah, I think you get to experience that with this film.
Well, I think
So
it's perfectly on the poster. It says, "Love can make you do terrible things," and that really kind of sums up, I feel like, this film. I love it.
it's
I,
it's a love story, but not in the sense of it being down the path of a good love story. You
no,
Yeah.
know,
it's more of a Bonnie and Clyde.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we always said. You know, let's end it like a Bonnie and Clyde story. You know, these two are really horrible people, but hey, they love each other. You know, that's all that matters in their eyes.
Well,
Exactly.
can you walk me through like the time period for this get made? Because you had the story you put on the back burner, then you kind of had the three stories, and you kind of had to wait for the script to get made, and then did you guys do like a film festival circuit before it got picked up distribution? Like, when did this all start? You know?
Well, basically, we shot. So it was about 3 months of writing. The film got made very quickly, and yeah, which is quite surprising because I'm reading online that average Australian film takes 7 years to make, and I'm like, why? It shouldn't be that long to get it made. But yeah, about 3 months of writing, and then I think we had a rehearsal period slash pre-prod, and that's stuff like, you know, ordering props from Amazon and all this stuff to, you know, I mean, we had about I think we had about a 2 month pre-prod period, which included all the casting and, you know, crewing up and all the rental, you know, getting all the gear rental all happening, and then the shoot actually took 22 days.
Mhm.
Wow.
Spread over. I think it was 2 months, 3 months.
Where'd you shoot
Um,
exactly?
I was just local, just around Melbourne. Yeah, and look, many of the cast and crew were people that we've worked with before. That they were just our friends. So it wasn't you know, meeting new people and just kind of easing into production and seeing how all these different crew members or cast work. We've already worked with them, so it was just straight from day one. It was just let's go. Everyone was really excited and energetic. Um, yeah, that first week we had a whole house to ourselves. So we shot there for 5 days because the owners went to Thailand for holiday. So we're like, great, we got free reign of this 3-story house, and we shot, the entire first act in like 5 days
Oh
there.
wow.
So it was a very organized, very precise shoot, and that a lot of that has to do with our first AD Vicky and our producer Marlene, who just really um, nailed the whole production schedule down, and just didn't waver from it. The biggest challenge we had, and I think Matt can attest to this, is that we did have an investor pull out with about 60% of the funds
Oh
Yeah.
no.
midway
Yeah.
through. And by then we've shot for maybe 10 days. So right in the middle. And then Matt, Marlene and I got together. We're like, well, what do we do? Do we keep going and then risk not, because all the invoices were due at the end of the shoot for the cast and crew. And like,
Yeah.
there's a very small community of filmmakers here. So once you get a bad rep about not paying on time, not being
Oh yeah, it stays with you
faithful,
forever, yeah.
oh,
That's it.
you can't work again. So that kept me up constantly. So along with the director's hat, and midway through, rather than just focusing on the story and directing, I'm going out trying to source the rest of these funds to keep going week by week. And I'm harassing Matt's harassing his friends, trying to get all these little bits of. We had people throwing poker chips at us, going, "Here, cash this in." It's the way we got money to make this film is a film in itself.
Wow, it should be like a documentary about it,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there were envelopes being passed on set with cash. I'm like, how much is in here? I don't know. Just take it. I'm like, all right, good.
Here's my piggy bank. I don't know what's in there. But...
Yeah, exactly. So, but look, we got there in the end. We actually got there in the end, which is miraculous. But I think Matt can attest to the pressure.
I'd like to know your aspect of this, because you're probably going out trying to get some money too.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I'll try to get your character down too.
Yeah. I mean, look, there was a little bit of responsibility to carry, but I guess I like working well under pressure, and with just trying to kind of get the funds together, because look, like Johnny was saying earlier, we really tried to make this film into a community project. It was a lot of people that we knew. I myself wanted to give a lot of the actors that I'd sort of worked with in the past or even studied with at school an opportunity. And because of that, I think people were more open to try and support as much as possible, which is why this project got finished in the end. And it was a lot of, some of my really good friends who came and stepped up at the end and sort of said, listen, like, I know it's big investments, but we believe in you. We believe in the project. We believe in your passion. So we're going to do this. And a lot of them, even kind of went as far as saying, we're not even sure if we're going to make a return on this, but it doesn't matter, because it's more important to see someone who has had the courage to kind of, or two people, me and Johnny, who have really had the courage to kind of say, we're going to make this film and do it by any means necessary. We're going to get it done because we want to show people what we can do. We want to allow people to experience this journey with us, and they did, and they stepped up. They gave us like envelopes of money towards the end just to get the final shoots done. And so I think it was kind of touching to see that, like, in the end, it really is all about the people that you know and the kind of relationships that you've built. And that's why this project is so special, because it's more than just an indie film. It was a community project that we literally needed to claw to the top, right to the very end. And then when we did, it was like, wow, we pulled this off. And then you get the finished result.
Yeah. It was very, very stressful at the time. We laugh about it now, but there was, sleepless nights. I mean, I was actually on the verge of having like serious health issues because of it too. Like on a serious note, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating. I was a mess for months trying to figure out. And the other day, just to give you a perspective of how we went about it, I counted the other day, I sent out 347 emails to potential investors, and only 10 replied ever.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of odds you're facing when you're a truly independent film, because we didn't go down any government funds or any government tranches or anything like that with this. We just decided not to do that because we wanted to have control. But yeah, I mean, if you ever want to make a film, always plan for the worst. plan for the worst
That's
always,
good
because
advice.
you never know when the rug's going to be taken off under you. But
Yeah.
like I said,
Exactly.
like
You
we,
said
we
like the
had
passion. If you don't have the passion for making it, you would just pull it out
Exactly.
of that.
exactly. But you know, we're also lucky that we had a really good support network around us, and you know, but by that time I already cut half the film, so I was able to cut a small trailer together with half the film. And
Oh,
that's
there
when
you
we
go.
went out. Yeah, so we were using that to approach potential investors, and I think our other investor, Matt's friend Theo, I think
Mhm.
he was really impressed by the footage, because when you tell someone, hey, I'm making an indie film, they're probably thinking, hey, it's two guys sitting in a room, and it's some sort of quirky comedy or something like that. But when they saw the footage,
Exactly.
they're like, oh no, this is serious. There's locations, there's actors, there's costumes, there's and then I think that
It's a
really
real movie.
boosted it. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
real movie, so it's hard.
Just to touch on that,
Yeah.
Johnny and Stephen, I think when a lot of the potential investors actually came, because I invited a few of them to come on set, and when they saw the kind of sets that we had, the professionalism, the quality of the sets and how much work had been put into it, I think that's what really shifted them and pushed them over the line, because they realized that we, especially Johnny and Marlene and Primalux, are very serious about making films. It's something that they take to the extreme. They'll do absolutely anything they need to do to get the perfect take, to the point where Johnny would push me to do 15 takes in a row, because he's like, the first 7, I know Matt's not going to give it to me 100%, so let's make him do another 8,
That's
right?
true.
but that's the length that some Johnny as a director would go to make sure that he got the right take for the film. And I think when other people see that and they realize that this is what we want to do, we want to be professional filmmakers in Australia, I mean, that's enough for anyone to realize that, like, it's something worth investing in. And I mean, we can see the results now, like Rage is making waves, and it's making waves for the right reasons.
Yeah, very cool. Who? One of the things I was really impressed with the trailer. Who did the score for this film? Because really good.
Okay, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. So we actually had a trailer cut, and Gravitas sent it back to us because they're like, oh, there's a scene in there that's red banned. It's got blood in there, and one of their guidelines is you can't actually show someone getting shot. So that actually gave me an opportunity to revisit the trailer. I could have very easily just cut that scene out, but I'm like, there's something wrong with this trailer, and this is the trailer that's going to go out. And at that time, I happened to stumble across the trailer for The Little Things, the new Denzel Washington film. And I fell in love with that music. I'm like, where is this music coming from? So I spent hours and hours trying to track down the music, and I finally was able to pinpoint where it's from. It's from a production company in England, and I found their contact. I'm like, how much is it to license this music? How much is it to use this music? And then through some negotiations, I was able to go, right, okay, this is a bit of a hole in my pocket, but I'm willing to fork out the cash for this, and to pay for the licensing rights for it. And then I recut the trailer to fit that music completely. So the trailer, I gave Gravitas a whole new trailer for it, because I fell in love with it. I'm like, this song, this track just says everything about the film. It's a complete root of it. And it's a lot better for it as well.
Well, it's good to know for other filmmakers, though, that you could actually try to reach out, and if there's some other piece you like, wow.
Yeah, don't ever be afraid. Just be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is where the film's going to be shown. How much is it to use this music? Because I mean, all you can get is a no. It's not going to hurt, So yeah, but we were very lucky that we got that, because it's a very, very cool track. I fell in love with it. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, before I let you guys go, is there a social media you guys are on? We can follow your journey going forward. And if you have anything in the works you're allowed to talk about, because I know you probably put all your money into this, you're hoping to at least get ends meet, but hopefully your next project you can actually make some money on.
Yeah, Johnny, what's coming next?
Well, look, the good thing is that because of this, we do have now access to investors. So now what I want to do is I'm reading a lot of scripts. I want to pick a more commercially viable project that is a lot easier to sell than a 2.5-hour Australian drama thriller with that doesn't have Brad Pitt in it. So but I do want to give everyone else another chance to come back and just be part of another fully funded, bigger film. So I'm reading a lot of scripts, but everyone can follow our process and journey on our Prima Lux Films Facebook or website, and Instagram. And I think Matt, you've got your actor Instagram up as well.
Yeah, Matt Theo actor, just to follow my journey moving forward. But I'll be working very closely with Prima Lux Films as well.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome, guys. Well, congratulations. I mean, what a journey putting this together. So
Yeah.
hopefully you get some sleep now, I assume, right?
Yeah, well, some of it.
Just starting to catch up on a little bit.
All right.
We're not going to be sleeping much until the release, so
Yeah, exactly.
February
23rd of Feb.
Everyone go watch Rage or wherever
Yeah.
VOD is. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and hopefully we'll talk down the road to your next project. All right.
No worries.
Thank
Thanks
you
for your time.